Hello YouTube, it's Rom from Ramen Noodles TCG, and today I have a very interesting deck for you. I will be showcasing Horus Tri-Brigade Sprite. Now, ever since Age of Overlord came out, I've been grinding locals like crazy, and I've won my fair share of Agov packs, and out of these packs, I was able to pull multiple Imseti and a Sarcophagus, so I was able to acquire a Horus core for basically like $50. So because of this, I have a Horus core now, and I've been looking into stuff to play with Horus, and I was doing some theorizing before Agov came out, and I got really hyped for Horus Tri-Brigade because the Horus bricks are Beast, Warrior, and Winged Beast respectively, so they're not really bricks in Tri-Brigade, and you can use them to make the Tri-Brigade links, which I thought seemed very useful. Then at the YCS, I believe it was YCS Richmond, there was a guy who was playing Horus Tri-Brigade. I think it was Horus Tri-Brigade Sprite. Yeah, and it was really cool to see someone else playing this deck as well. I'm not a crazy person just trying to convince you that the worst jank is good, you know. So okay, on to the list. So for the Horus ratios, I am playing 3 Imseti, the 1 Happy, the 1 Duamatef, and 3 King Sark. Now, Horus Imseti is your main starter. It discards itself and a card in your hand to search the Sark. Now, if you're not familiar with the Horus cards, basically, the Sark is what this entire archetype revolves around. So, up to 4 times per turn, you can discard a card to dump a Horus. And then all of the Horuses can revive themselves when you have the Sark up. So I'm opting for these ratios because I want 6 Horus starters total, so the 3 Imseti and the 3 King Sark. That's the maximum number of Horus starters you can play until we get the Horus Field Spell and Phantom Nightmare. I'm playing 1 Happy and 1 Duamatef. These guys are bricks, but it's nice to have these guys as extenders. You need to play at least one of these, but I opted for playing 2 of the bricks. I started by testing all 3 of the Horus bricks, but it was so bad. They were so bricky. So I cut the Kebasenueth and just decided to play these. Happy is like the best Horus brick because when the Horuses have the shared condition where if a card you control, if your opponent removes a card from your field by card effects, the Horuses will trigger their effects. Duamatef draws cards equal to the number of differently named monsters you have, and Happy adds cards back from your from among your graveyard and banished cards, and Imseti sends a card from the field to the graveyard non-targeting. So yeah, these are just good guys. They're extenders for link plays. You can make rank 8s with them. They're really nice. For the Tri-Brigade ratios, I am playing 1 Fractal, 3 Kit, 2 Nerval, 2 Karis, and the 1 Revolt. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Tri-Brigade Sprite, the 1 Fractal may be kind of surprising. The reason we play the 1 Fractal is because you have a lot better access to Kit and Karis because you could summon Kit off of Gigantic Sprite and such, especially because you're playing the Horus cards. If you draw like Imseti plus Kit, for example, you can Imseti pitch Kit or Imseti pitch Nerval to get your searches and such. So you won't be starting with Fractal as often, but we do want the 1 Fractal, especially as a search off of Nerval. It helps you get enough names in graveyard for some niche scenarios with Revolt, which is really important. I wanted to play a 3rd Nerval, but it bricks too hard, so I'm only opting for the 2. Karis is really nice. I like the 2 Karis. It's good for the grind game to have the second one, and you can just pitch. There's a lot of stuff you can pitch with Horus to keep going. So yeah, it's nice. You can pitch your Horus bricks and such. It's a good card. And obviously the one Revolt. I got the collector's rare. I wasn't sure which rarity yet, but yeah. Revolt's really nice. Sometimes you side out the Revolt going second. In some matchups, you keep it in, like slower matchups, for example. I'm not playing Tri-Brigade Roar because I don't think that card is good in a deck that doesn't have... That's not pure Tri-Brigade. It's a cool card, but I don't think I want to be playing it. I don't have the space. The space is too tight. Way too tight. So for the sprites, obviously we got to start with some Nimbles. So Nimble Beaver and Nimble Angler. So 3 Beaver, 2 Angler. This is standard. Beaver is an incredible normal summon. It can summon either Angler or another Beaver from deck or grave. Yeah, it's a 1-card starter. And this gets you to Sprint, which can dump Angler, and then Angler will trigger to summon more Beavers from your deck. And yeah, this is really nice. A part of me wanted to play 3 Angler just because I got greedy with the whole King Sark pitch Nimble Angler, and then you start pogging out as you do the whole YouTube combo. But I don't think I need 3 Angler. 3 Angler seems bad. But yeah, just 2 is fine. And you don't hate drawing it just because, you know, you have King Sark and Imseti to pitch it off. So yeah, those are the Nimbles. And then for the sprites, in true Tri-Brigade sprite fashion, we are playing a lot of 1-ofs. So 1 blue, 1 jet, 1 red, 1 carrot, 1 starter, 1 smashers. And now obviously you need all of these. 1 of each for the sprite line. So if you already have access to the Tri-Brigades, you can summon blue off of Gigantic Sprite, go blue for Jet, and Jet effect can grab either starter or smashers, and then both negates of your choice. Sometimes you side out the carrot going second, but other than that, these are pretty static for the most part. A part of me wishes I had a second blue. I had space for a second blue. I was playing 2 blue super early on in testing, but I cut it just for space. Space is so tight. Yeah. So this is fairly standard for Tri-Sprite. Smashers is really nice in a lot of scenarios where, because you can clear your board with it. Yeah. And now onto some tech cards. So for the non-engine slots, I have 8 hand traps here. I have 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, and 2 DD Crow. Now, Ash and Imperm are very generic, good in basically every matchup. Crow is really nice this format, I've found. You can hit a lot of different things with DD Crow. It's really good against Pearly, Unchained, and Tearlaments. And yeah, it's a really good card, but with the ban list hitting Unchained and Tier, I didn't feel comfortable playing 3 in the main anymore. So going forward, I think I'm just going to play the 2 Crow. But I think since it's a Tri-Brigade deck, you always want to have at least 1 Crow, either in the main or the side, just because it's searchable off of the Shureg effect. After you Revolt, you can Revolt and then Revolt summon Shureg banish, and then you can double Dragonlord, send your Shureg, and then get your search for DD Crow. So yeah, it's quite nice like that. And then I'm also playing some power spells. I'm playing 2 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust and 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Now, this deck plays through Interruption fairly well, but Imseti is a massive Ash Blossom magnet. Ashing Imseti is a really good... It's a really good value out of your Ash because the Horus player goes -1 for that. So it's very difficult. It's good to punish them by playing Triple Tactics Talents to punish your opponent for ashing you. I'm playing 2 Talent and 2 Thrust. I wanted to fit 3 thrust in here, but I couldn't really find the room. I'm struggling to keep it at 40 as is. I cut my 41st card, which was the 3rd DD Crow. And yeah, I like these ratios. Thrust is really good, especially because we're playing Tri-Brigade. We can set Revolt off of Thrust, which is the scenario I talked about earlier, where, for example, if you get drolled on a Nerval search, you can thrust into Revolt and then activate your Fractal to dump, and then you have 4 names in graveyard to resolve Revolt for Shuriken. Yeah, these are just good cards. And I'm playing more thrust targets in the side. It's not just Talent and Revolt. But yeah, all right, let's get into that extra deck now. For the Tri-Brigades, I am playing Farajit, Bearbrum, Tushurig, the honorary Tri-Brigade links, Almirage, DDL, and Appaloosa. So yeah, so these are the Tri-Brigade ratios. A part of me wants to have a second Farajit in here, but I just couldn't find the space. So the nice thing about the Horus cards is that you can use Duamateth and Happy to make Farajit, which is a really cute play. Yeah. Yeah, this is fairly standard for Tri-Brigade as far as these ratios go. Almirage is for when your hand is really bad and you have to start by normal summoning Kit and then linking it off for Almirage, or normal summoning Nerval and linking it off for Almirage. It's really bad. And when you see the Tri-Brigade players who get a little too much hubris and cut the Almirage, they have to do the set of shame where they brick and they set Nerval and pass. A sad, sad day. So for some other links, I am playing IP Masquerena, Sprite Sprint, Little Knight, and Pit Knight early. So IP Masquerena is really good in this deck. It's a main part of your end board. You'll generally make this first, or like really close to the beginning of your combo, especially if you start with the Horus stuff, because this requires generic materials. So you can use Imseti as a material for IP Masquerena as like an anchor point to start your combos when it comes to zone placements. SP Little Knight is usually what you summon off of Masquerena. It's really good. Yeah, it's just really good. Not really too much to say about SP Little Knight. She kind of speaks for herself. Pit Knight early is a nice part of your end board. It's a monster negate. If she points to something like an IP Masquerena, you can IP effects, and then if your opponent has no response, you can chain early to negate a monster your opponent controls. Yeah, so this is... linking into Pit Knight early is usually the final step of your combo. Yeah. Spright Sprint is really nice. Obviously, since we're playing a Sprite deck, you make Sprint. Yeah, you can send Angler with this, or you can send Kit with this. So it gets you to both halves of your deck. What's nice about the Horus stuff is that Horus, like Gold Sarcophagus discarding 3 cards, can still get you full combo just by making an IP and then making Sprint. It's really scuffed, but this really does give the deck a lot more consistency. Yeah, so those are the links. Now let's move on to the Xyz. So for the Xyz, I'm playing Gigantic Sprite, Mannequin Cat, Zombie Vampire, and Zeus. Now, I was originally playing Photon Lord in the slot over Zombie Vampire, but Zombie Vampire is really nice for extension. I never ended up summoning Photon Lord. The Monster Negate was cool, but it didn't... I felt like I could usually extend farther than just the Monster Negate, and it was just kind of awkwardly sitting there. So yeah, the Zombie Vampire is really nice for extension. You can dump your Tri-Brigades. You can dig for your Sprites and such. You can trigger Nimble Angler with this, which is really nice. Mannequin Cat is really good. Mannequin Cat's your main answer to Dimension Shifter. If your opponent shifters you, you can normal summon Beaver, special the Angler, and then bring back their shifter, and then go full Sprite combo from there. Which is why if you're playing against this deck, or against Sprite in general, actually, well, I guess pure Sprite would play more red, so, if you're playing against this deck specifically, you want to wait for the Sprint to drop shifter, but you always run the risk of losing to red, so... Tough call, tough call. But yeah, that's why Mannequin Cat's really good. Keep in mind that you cannot use Mannequin Cat to summon off of... you can't use Mannequin Cat to summon from your opponent's graveyard after you've already used Starter or Gigantic Sprite. That's important to note. And I do play a few Mannequin Cat targets in the side deck, so I'll talk about those in a bit. Gigantic Sprite is really important for your combos. You can either bring out blue and do the whole Sprite line that way, or you can bring out Kit. And yeah, sometimes you will end up using Bearbrum as material for Gigantic Sprite, and then detaching the Bearbrum to get you your search. It's kind of interesting. You can chain block your searches like that. But yeah. Keep in mind that if you do that play, you can't special summon for the rest of the turn except Tri-Brigades, which, you know, that's the Bearbrum restriction. There's a lot of restrictions in this deck to keep track of. When you're playing it, you got to keep in mind that if you activate a Tri-Brigade effect to link summon and it results, you are unable to use the Sprites as link material, because you have to use Tri-type monsters if you're going to link summon. So yeah, that can be quite difficult, and you have to be mindful of locking yourself into twos, especially going second when you want to crack boards with Sure. So yeah, you just got to keep in mind all those restrictions. And then because we're playing some Xyz monsters, I'm playing Zeus. I think I've only summoned this once or twice. You could cut it for Typhon, you could cut it for the second copy of Farigite. But yeah, this is how I have it for now, and it's worked alright for me so far. On to the side deck. So for the side deck, we're playing some hand traps. Got 3 Droll, 3 Nib, some back row hate. I'm playing 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Duster, and then there's some thrust targets, Dimensional Barrier, and Double Cross for going first, Herald for going second into stuff like Pearly. And I'm playing Pankratops, and the final 2 slots I'm running Lancia right now. This is a Mannequin Cat target, a very dubious Mannequin Cat target. Against stuff like Monodium and Rescue Ace, they have light monsters, so you can summon Lancia and then trigger it. It's kind of weird. Lancia is also really good in the Blackwing matchup, which I don't think anybody cares about except for me, because that's weirdly a problem at my locals. Yeah. So, post-Banlist, I would probably play a second Pankratops. I don't know about the Lancias. You'd probably want maybe different Mannequin Cat targets. Double Cross has been really bad for me. The card is insane, but whenever I sight it in, I always brick on it. It's just like, I draw it, and then the rest of my hand is just unplayable, and I'm just sitting on Double Cross with doing nothing. So yeah, you can cut the Double Cross if you want for a second Pank, and play different Mannequin Cat targets. As far as Mannequin Cat targets, if you're worried about Tearlaments, you can play the End of Anubis. If you're worried about Labyrinth, you can play Jinzo, which is surprisingly alright against Lab. Yeah. So yeah, that's the deck. I'll probably do some combos here, and yeah, thank you.